We are now going to use the sum and difference formulas to solve a different kind of problem. So once again, here are the sum and difference formulas. It's where we have two angles. We either adding the angles together or subtracting them. I went ahead and copied down the problem to save time. So here's the problem. They want to know the cosine of pi over 9 times the cosine of 7 pi over 18 minus the sine of pi over 9 times the sine of 7 pi over 18. What does that equal? Seems like a crazy problem, but that's what it is. First thing I want you to notice is, and they asked for an exact value. So once again, they want the answers to be exact. No using your calculators, none of that kind of stuff. Look at these angles. Pi over 9, 7 pi over 18, pi over 9, 7 pi over... No special angles, so I can't just go figure out these trig functions. But what I can do, since I have two angles, this little expression here, the idea is it looks like one of my sum or difference formulas. So my job is to figure out the way this is written, which sum or difference formula is it? Maybe to make this first one clear, since my formulas are all written as u and v, let's assume pi over 9 is v and 7 pi over 18 is u. Or actually, let's do the u first. That's how they do it in the formula sheet. So what I really have here, just to make it very clear, cosine of u times cosine of v. So once again, here's pi over 9, which is u, and 7 pi over 18, which is v, minus sine of u times sine of v. Now this hopefully makes it pretty clear as to which of these formulas fits. So let's look at this first thing. Here's the first thing I notice. I've got to subtract in the middle. If I look at these first four, two of them are subtraction, this one and this one, and these two are plus. So it's not going to be these two, so it's going to be this one or this one. So once again, I may not have said this, I'm sort of using the formula backwards. It's like we're starting with the right-hand side of the formula, and we're going to use it to figure out the left-hand side. So since it's minus, cosine, cosine, minus sine, sine. It's pretty easy, right? Cosine, cosine, minus sine, sine. It's the one that's like that. So this is cosine of u plus v. So you know what that means? Since u and v, I can rewrite those. Cosine u is pi over 9. V is 7 pi over 18. So this whole thing actually equals this. And let's go ahead, let's add pi over 9 to 7 pi over 18. So now let's do a little math with fractions. If I'm going to add these together, I have the common denominator. It's like I multiply the top and the bottom here by 2, so this becomes 2 pi over 18 plus 7 pi over 18. And that's 9 pi over 18. Of course, 9 pi over 18 reduces down to pi over 2. So this is really cosine pi over 2. So what have we done? Let's review this real quick. Let's review this quickly. So it's what we were given. I decided to try and use the sum or formula difference backwards. So I figured out what I was going to call u and v, and I realized this is in this form here. Now if I go to my formula sheet, that equals cosine of u plus v. So now this whole thing now, actually I can rewrite it as this. I went ahead and added these two fractions together, and it's pi over 2, and lo and behold, pi over 2 is a special angle. Matter of fact, the cosine of pi over 2 is 0. So this problem actually equals 0, amazingly enough. All right, let's do one more. So this is where we're sort of using the formulas backwards. So once again, I went ahead and wrote down the problem just to save time. So this one now is sine of 7 pi over 12 times cosine pi over 6 plus cosine 7 pi over 12 times sine of pi over 6. Let's just call this u, this v, so this is u, this is v. So if we write this, I could say this is really sine u times cosine v plus cosine u times sine v. Now I go to my formula sheet and I say, okay, what is there a formula that fits this? First of all, it's plus, so it's got to be one of these two here in the middle. Now it's sine cosine plus cosine sine. This is cosine cosine plus sine sine. Sine cosine plus cosine sine. It's this one here. Sine of u plus v. Now for my initial problem, u is 7 pi over 12, v is pi over 6, so therefore this whole thing I could say is equal to 7 pi over 12 plus v, and v is pi over 6. Now let's go off to the side and see what happens when we add these fractions together. 7 pi over 12 plus pi over 6. If I get a common denominator, multiply top and bottom here by 2. 7 pi over 12 plus 2 pi over 12. 14 pi over 12, which if you reduce that, if I divide top and the bottom by 2, 7 pi over 6. So I can say this is really, this whole thing I can rewrite as this. When I add these together, you get 7 pi over 6. So this whole thing equals 7 pi over 6, or the sine of 7 pi over 6. And this is a special angle. And we know that is, I went to my unit circle, I looked at 7 pi over 6, the sine is negative 1/2. And that is, in fact, let me check, I don't want to be mistaken. Let me look at the number I was working. Now it says I made a mistake. Let me see what my mistake might be. So sine of u, sine of v. Right, plus, so make sure I did the math here correct. Wow, look at this. You guys probably saw this. 7 plus 2, 14. So sorry, 9 pi over 12. So then this reduces down to 3 pi over 4. This just proves even the teachers make silly math errors. Now the sine of 3 pi over 4 is negative square root of 2 over 2. Sorry about that. I'm glad I had the answer here to check, or that would have gone uncorrected. All right, so these two problems are using these sum of difference formulas and sort of using them backwards.